It's time to turn this, I believe, 1970 Buick into a barn find car. Shine some light on it. The spotlight on this GSX. It's a Buick Grand Sport. By Hot Wheels. And maybe somebody forgot to change the oil and it got seized up. So they just parked it in a barn for several years. Or maybe they drove it on southeastern Michigan roads until it got all rusty on the bottom, and then eventually just parked it because the old lady that drove it everywhere in the salty conditions died. So I don't know if I'm going to be a barn find or if it's just going to be shot to hell old Michigan rust bucket. I think shot to hell old Michigan rust bucket that somebody stuck in a barn. Well, let's get to it. I'm going to use my Dremel and scuff it up. See what we got here, right there, like that. So you get the basic idea of what's going to happen. We'll be back in a little bit. So the battery on the Dremel died, so I wasn't able to start drilling. But I did get some of the stripes off of the top there, and down the sides the stripes are kind of worn off. Like whoever had this car has had it for quite a while. Probably, I imagine, a little old lady had it to start off with, or maybe a guy who worked for Buick, and they had it for 5-6 years, sold it to another family, and then they had it for 3 or 4 years and sold it to a guy who delivered pizzas in it, and he just beat it to hell. And so that's where it's standing right now. You can see how I've taken some of the tampos off, but not entirely. And when I get the Dremel charged, I'll put some dents in it, put some pock marks in the metal, and do my best to make it look like it's been around Michigan for quite some time. In the meantime, I can bring this over here and show you how the rust looks on this. You get the texture and the rust and stuff like that. So that's what we're going for. So the Dremel is fully charged. And what I like to do with a vehicle like this is take and grab one of my little pointed tips, like this one here. Tighten that up and do some drilling in to the body where rust would go. It's like you can go sideways sometimes too and make little marks. See here. Sometimes it's like look at that go. And you just keep doing that till you end up with some cool, like chunky textured marks. And I'll do a bunch of this to the car and then show you what it looks like. So here we have the rusty spots drilled and drummeled and marked as best they can to have some texture. And ooh, look at that. There's a dent in that door where the car got hit or something like that. So we'll be adding some rust and maybe even primer or something like that there. I used my pokey tip like this for the tiny textures. And then this one here, I went over some of them to give them some deeper areas. And that was the primary one for the big dent on the door as well. I also used this one to grind away some stuff from the bottom. And then, of course, this one to sand things smooth, like right in that area. And to flatten out the paint as well. I like to keep the paint very dull on an old, dirty Michigan car. So the next steps will be to add colors. We've got orange rust here. Got brown rust here. Those are the powder kinds. And then somewhere in my paints, I don't think these are the right colors. I think I went over here. Come on, paints. There's a lot of paints in this drawer over here. There's a rust. There's another rust. This is matte 100. This is matte 113. There should be another matte 113. Yeah. And another matte 113. So my Humbrol rust paints, and then my Tamiya Weathering Master powders, and we should be rocking solid. I'll give you some details as the time comes to do some of that painting, but I think right now can take a break. So here we are. I've did a lot of the rust around the dented parts and some other rust here and there. So I can get the light in there. The basic gist of it. And there's speckles of rust here and there at the top. Used a combination of these little disposable brushes and little disposable hard Q-tips. And then I wiped up some with a bigger Q-tip. Added some dots with a toothpick. Wipe up some rust with that sponge. They had some real tiny ones with the stipple stippling bristles of that hard one. So I've got the other side over here like that, so I can bring the iris down a little bit. See the basic gist, and the dent is still just the metal, so I'll work on that another time. But that's the basic point of where I am now. Well, hello once again. I can get some light on that car. There we are. What I'm going to do today, which, you know, for you watching the video is just a fraction of a second later, is I'm going to add some of these powders. I've got brown rust and maybe some black. And then over here I've got orange rust and some beige. So I'm going to do that. It's very hard to show you on the, I don't know how the other guys do. They must have really good camera mounts. But basically, I take my little powder and you rub a bunch of it onto the pad, and then you put it in like that, and it gives it depth. So I'm going to pick the thing up and hold it by my face so I can see what I'm doing, and then I'll show you the result. Okay, so at this point I have added the powdered Tamiya Weathermaster dark rust to what I painted prior. I'll bring the car over here so we can take a good look at it. Should get some light on it. So I can bring some light over here. Trying to get it into focus. So I took where all the paint was here and all around here and added as much of the brown weathering powder as possible to the rust down there. That is where the darkest rust usually is on cars that have been subjected to decades of Michigan winters. It's awfully bright. Let's see if I can bring down the light like that a little bit. That's almost too dark. And then we'll show you this side here. So I added brown again, powder here, all through there, and all along the bottom of the door. And with the light on it, it's showing as a mix of the orange and brown. But it's definitely the dark brown powder that I used. And then I'll add, once this has set, the light orange dusting to the top and around the edges of other parts. And then I'll do some orange dusting to the rear bumper and the front bumper as well. And then I will clear coat it with a flat clear coat and then do a black wash. And the black wash will help bring out the details in the grille and in the door crevices and stuff like that. So I can bring down the iris a little bit so you can sort of see the grille has a pretty cool detail in there. So that's what I'll work on as far as that goes. More in a moment. And here we are. I have added the orange powder rust and the clear coat to our vehicle. And that is a 1970 Buick GSX custom rust job by yours truly, Dan. I'll turn it around so you can see the other side. There it is there. He's got that dent in the door and there's rust all around the dent. And then of course we've got a little rust details down there. See them in there. And up on the roof line, he's got a patch where it was leaking into the back seat. And so he had to Bondo it and prime it. He's like, as rusty as this car is, the last thing I need is to have, people riding in the back seat get rained on. So he did fix that one hole. But for the most part, he just delivers pizzas in it and takes his girlfriend out in it. And he's a drummer. I kind of picture maybe the guy as a drummer. So he can load up his drums in the back of the car. There's only one thing left to do now, and that when this clear coat is fully dry, I'll add a layer of the brown or dark black wash, probably both, to the bottom of the car where road grime has attached to it. So this is where we are now, and there'll be one last segment in this video to follow, and that'll be the road grime that goes along the bottom of it. And those are like this. That's brown wash. And somewhere I've got the grayish black wash. Is that this one? Here it is. It should be black wash. Yeah, black detail wash. That stuff is great for Hot Wheels cars, Matchbox cars, Star Wars stuff, you name it. It's really cool. Okay, so here we have our car. The clear coat's pretty dry. I've got my two washes. They are the kind of sandy brown wash and the black wash. I'll set those both there. Can you see them? Let me just like this. How does this work? Does that help everybody see some stuff? Black wash, brown wash. And it's really simple what you do with the washes. Kind of put the car on its side, hold it up, and you go, okay, where would dirt hit this car? You go, well, dirt would definitely get on the wheels. So you load up the wheels and the undercarriage, like that. And all along the bottom there. You can even go like this, turn it so that it's totally upside down. Just go blah, 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 blah. Get those wheels. Get some crud going here. Like that. Get some crud. All along those wheels. Crud like that. Crud like that. Got a good amount of crud. Try to do somewhere it's like splashy, flicky. Like that. And sit that one down. Yeah, that black one. Black one's fuzzy because I really shook it. And I'll add some black crud. Particularly, there's a little too much towards the back where the exhaust is. Black crud there, some black crud on the wheels. Some black road crud grime there, and a little bit there, a bit there. Flip it over. Okay, I'm gonna set that black crud on there. And remember, I gotta add some of the kind of beigey road crud to the. Went all the way over. That's what happens sometimes. Come on, line up. Like this. Add some of the beigey road crud to the rims there, like that. Like that, looks pretty good. I get the car right side up. Get my X-Acto out from underneath there. And put that one down. Use one of the skinniest ones. Like this. And then you can really just go flick, 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 like that. Some road grime coming up, flick. Went through a puddle. You gotta remember which way it would splash when you go through a puddle. And it'll splash backwards. Go flick, 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 flick. And it might be a little too much. But once you throw away your Q-tips and get them out of the way so you're not making more mess. Sorry about my creaky chair. But hey, such is the life of a basement chair, right? Get the cap on my beige and brownish one. And put that away. Throw this away. The cap on this one. Set that away. And then anything that's too heavy, you can just kind of go tap, 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 and that lightens it up a little bit. This is a sponge, just takes off some of the crud. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. Like that. And the wheels, I always get a little bit too much on the wheels. Just want to kind of dab the excess off. Now you'll find if you do this that you end up with some Q-tip fuzz. Usually you can blow that off or pick it off a little bit later, but better to have a little bit of Q-tip fuzz on it. Oh, I know what I forgot. I forgot to do the wash to the grill, the black wash in the grill. Got to do that. I looked in Miami, I looked in my grill. The closest I came was a month-old bill. To get black wash in the grill. Get in there. You go, oh my God, that's a shit ton of black wash in that grill. Yeah. You want to make sure it gets into the crevices so that it's in the deeper parts. And then you just kind of get the rest of it out by wicking it out with the Q-tip. So you see that? I'll see if I can focus it. Yeah, so I got some good crud in the grill. See if I can get some light into that grill. You see that? So that's it. And I'll pick the camera up now and show you the car. So that's pretty much it. Oh, you want more light. Okay. A little bit of a bubble there. There's crud in the grill. And that looks pretty spiffy. So yeah, some of the crud that I got off of the grill, I can use it as like where people had dirt on their hands when they're getting into the car. So there's grime, dirt marks. So hey, don't get your dirty hands on my car. And they're like, did you look at your car? Nobody gives a shit, dude. So yeah, this thing is beat to hell. It has been loved. And it just keeps going. Nice strong engine, but the body is in a bit of disrepair. So there is the finished product of my beat up 70 Buick. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Later. Oh, there. Put a rusty truck in the background. Got GM, Ford. I rust everybody. I got a rusty Studebaker around here somewhere. If it looks good rusted, I will rust it. Oh. There it is. That one is, yeah, M2 Studebaker. Good stuff. Later. Bye.